as Katie and Christine, we're just sitting there BSing on the back end, talking about private money, all that good stuff. But for those of you that haven't met them, we're going to introduce them. But before I even do that, we're going to talk about this beautiful thing that we have going on, which is called the Midterm Rental Summit. And I hope you guys got tickets already because we're less than, let me look at the date. I think it's actually like 28 days away, which is wild because I remember thinking about this, Katie and Christine, last year, like as this ended, thinking like, man, how fast is it going to come for next year? We're freaking here already, which is wild. So, yeah, we're going to be hosting the Midterm Rental Summit on April 27th to the 29th in San Diego. This is the third one, and I'm super excited because I've learned a lot of things over the years, and now we're coming in hot with Christine and Katie, who are actually going to be speaking on the stage. And you guys have some of the most fascinating stories that I've seen come out of this space, and it's just so cool to have you guys. And for me, it was like a full circle moment when we were trying to pick up the lineup for this year. I was like, we got to get Christine on there. We got to get Katie. We got to get IZEALSTAY. They are what I would consider like the average investor becoming extraordinary in like a year. And I've had you guys on so many times on my YouTube channel, myself, and the podcast. And I think you guys just have just an incredible story. So yeah, if you guys want to go see them live in person, please do so. You will be you're gonna appreciate it. Trust me, I know this. I already know you're gonna enjoy this episode that we have today. But yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and jump into this. Oh, last thing before I forget, go get your tickets at the midtermrentalsummit.com. That's the place that you got to go get them. 27 days away. Make this happen. You will thank me later. But Christine, Katie, whoever wants to take the floor first, let's jump into this. And if there's anybody out there that has questions as we're moving along for this, go feel free and drop it in the chat box. So Christine, introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, Jesse. Hi,
Hey.
everyone. I'm Christine from IZEALSTAY in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are corporate housing and midterm rental operator in our area. We have three business partners in this company: Katie French and Eva Hatton. So along the way, we just have our midterm rental company for about over a year, and we learn everything from Jesse how to run this business, and then create our little small systems, and we just like skyrocketing right now. Yeah.
I know it's super freaking awesome to watch you guys continue to build, and we'll get into that whole building here in a minute. But Katie, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Thanks, Christine. That was awesome. I appreciate you, and I'm going to talk about the story about you here in a minute. But I want to introduce Katie as well. Katie, go for it. And
Yeah, hi, I'm Katie. Thanks for the opportunity, Jesse.
so cool.
It's great to be on. Thank you. I'm one of the owners of IZEALSTAY. Christine, me, myself, and Eva have built a midterm rental business. We don't think we ever expected to grow it this big, but it seems to be growing and still growing quite rapidly. We're enjoying every minute. We're still learning a ton, and we learned so much off Jesse and just put it into action. We just took action. I think that is the be all and end all of what we do. We're pretty quick at making decisions. We're pretty urgent in taking action, and we learned a lot from, well, I binge watched Jesse's videos at first, and we've just learned a lot from you, Jesse, from your
Katie, you know what I was going to say? I'm sorry to cut you on this because I just want to make sure everybody understands what you just said right now. And I've noticed this throughout every person that I've watched become successful, and just not even just every person. I believe that somehow, some way, the universe, God, whatever it is you guys believe out there, rewards fast movers and fast action. It's like you're not waiting on stuff. You guys actually talked to me about that a minute ago before we even went on air. Like, just start, just do it. Don't be afraid. We'll figure it out as you go. I constantly have to remind myself to do that too, just like you guys do as well. But I do believe that people or the universe, whatever it is you guys believe, get rewarded by how quick they're able to make decisions. And I've watched this happen with you guys and many other people that I'm affiliated with and that I'm not. And it's the fact that they're able to take an idea, a concept, an idea, bring it to market quickly, think about those things, structured as you move along. There's something really magical about being able to think about something, put it together, and essentially make things happen. And again, I think that action is rewarded a lot of the times. And you don't have to have it figured out, right, Katie? I don't think you have to have it figured out.
Oh, I still don't. I learn so much from Eva and Christine, who have been animals in the real estate industry before I came along as well. Eva just makes decisions like this, and she's so
Really?
quick. Oh, yeah, I'm still learning from her. She's amazing.
Is she just like, we'll figure it out as we go? Like, we'll just do this right now and hopefully it makes sense. Like, what does that actually look like?
She will just flick through the numbers in her head.
Yeah.
She doesn't need it down on a calculator. She just flicks through them in her head, looks at the expenses, the profit, and then either we go for it or we don't. Isn't that right,
Got it.
Christine?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any
We
more
all
technicalities to her?
Yeah. So actually, we all learning from either midterm rental or real estate investment. We are learning from each other. We are learning from our business, and we are learning along the way when we are working on things. It depending on what situation and it come up, and then we just make a decision and move forward. So I guess every single day is just learning, processing. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and it's important. It's important to make sure to move quickly through things, and I think that's something that you guys have been able to do, especially you, Christine. I remember. I want to tell a story, and I tell it every time because I feel like it's such a powerful story. Katie, you've heard this story before, but I remember the first time Christine came into class, maybe first or second time, she was like, "I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I have the skill or the bandwidth. I don't know if I have the energy. My voice isn't. I don't think my voice is enough. You know, yada yada yada." And we were just like, "Whoa, hang on a second." And it's one of the most powering. In fact, I talked to somebody today, one of my friends. I was talking to her today, and she was like, they have one of the most wonderful stories of like going from zero to that hero mentality. You know how it's like zero to hero, like so fast. And really, what it was just a course and a series of actions, being connected to other people, getting information, processing it quickly, and just taking steps every single day to improve where you're at. And I always bring this up because, in fact, I wanted to do this, Christine. I wanted to actually, like, before you guys got on stage, have like a 30-second clip of you, like back in those days, like you talking about that. And then all of a sudden seeing you get onto a stage and then seeing you get in these accounts. Like for me, it was like this visual of just like this, like full aha moment where it's like everything that just comes to circle. And it's so cool to watch people. I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about this because I feel like that is one of the most powerful things that I've ever witnessed. And I watched other people do it. I watched you do it. Katie, I watched you guys do that together now as a synergy. And I think that's what's most powerful. The thing about Christine that I really, really admire about you, Christine, is that you found Katie at a sub-2 meetup in Vegas where you're from, and you have a skill set on your own. Katie's got a skill set, and you guys have a lot of opposite skill sets in a way. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think partnerships or joint ventures are so powerful because of that. You have somebody that has the ability to, I'm just giving an example, has ability to make cold calls or connect with people, and then somebody else has the ability to be extremely neat on the back end, get everything organized. Is that something that you guys actually helped create that, you know, symbiotic relationship? I know Eva's involved in this too. I don't see her on these calls very often. I don't know if she wants to come in on these ever.
No.
She probably doesn't. She's like, leave me out of it. She doesn't want to be front facing or forward facing in the community. But I think those kinds of things are powerful. So can you talk to us about what that actually looked like, where the positive was, how you guys met, what the differences that you guys both have that actually create that really symbiotic relationship?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Christine and I met and we got on and we talked about arbitraging a couple of properties because our rentals were booked. And where Eva kind of came into the mix, she was Christine's best friend. We weren't really sure how it would all fit. Honestly, it was the best organic I don't know, we kind of sunk into these these roles organically, and it was like a perfect fit, like a jigsaw puzzle, seriously. And it worked. It still works so well. We have our strengths. We know each other's strengths now. There's things that are difficult. Eva's going away for a month next month, and I've had to do the finances. That is not my strength. Those little detail bits is not my strength, and I don't like doing it. I get really nervous doing it. It takes me a lot of really focused concentration to do those things, because my brain's a lot more creative. I'm more kind of like up here. I like building business contacts. I like being on the phone. I deal with a lot of problems day to day. But you know, there's things that we have to do, but Eva suits that. Christine is the most detailed person ever. She sees things that nobody else sees in the problems, and she's able to turn maybe if we get a request in and it's not working out for one reason or another, she's able to see this detail that no one else has noticed. And she's like, guys, look at this. Maybe we can do this, and turns the whole thing around, and we can secure that booking. We can help that family or that relocation person into the house, because she's seen one detail that we've got 11 people on our team now, not one other person has seen, and she'll turn it around like that. She's so detailed. It's amazing, and it's such good customer service.
Yeah, you know, in hospitality, you have to have a level of detail, like that exceptional eye when it comes to things like that. Christine, what do you think about that? Is Katie right spot on with that? Are you like, hang on, are you coming in with like a white glove and like running it across what's going on with you, Christine? Tell us what you're doing. Like what's the detail? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I guess I used to do interior design, and then I used to I already get used to on that. I have to look up at things from head to toe, every single detail, trying to making sure everything is in the right places, or maybe is there any more room for me to keep moving better and improve it. So maybe that's from my previous experience. So I put it into IZEAL, and I'm looking at it. I'm not trying to look at things like just for money only. I want to look at things at how can we help the other guest, client, or maybe the other company. What we can do to is the best for them to save some money, or maybe fit whatever their needs. So I guess this is I learned from you from the class. You kept telling us, just finding the solution, solve these people's problems. That's the way we can get both. So that's sticking in my head for a long time. So every single time when I'm looking at a claim or an inquiry or maybe whatever from the other company, I just want to see what they need. That's the most important thing first. Then we're going to see our competition. Let's see, compare the rent rate around the area. We're trying not to be inflate the market. We don't want to be too greedy. We just want to make it work for all party. That is going to be a win-win situation for everyone. And after that, we try to create a relationship for long run also. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because a lot of people get in this space and they're very extremely guarded on what they have, or they're thinking about their own income. They're thinking about their own perspective in these ways. And this is where businesses fail. Whether you've been around for a long time or you haven't, the goal should always be, how can we mutually partner with other people? And our goal should also be, how do we actually benefit from helping a company as an extension provider, like almost like a dotted line approach, where you're going, here's your company A, here's myself, here's the guests that are in between, or the clients, whatever you want to call them. How do we make the job easier of the contracting company that we're working with? How do we make the lives easier of the guests that are going to be staying in the property while they're on assignment? And we should always be thinking about how we can actually save them money, because at the end of the day, like, that's our goal, and that's our job as a, furnished accommodation. Like, that's the whole goal behind furnished accommodations and becoming a corporate provider, is that you have to make sure that you're looking at that lens of, yes, you need to make money. That's, everybody needs to make money. But you said something that I really, really think is valuable, and a lot of people don't necessarily hear this all the time, where I'm building a relationship that is going to have years of, reciprocity, where there's a give and take to it. I'm helping the company grow money over time. We're building something together. I'm making it easier for your clients and or myself to continue to move along. If you're in Missouri now and you decide to go to, Austin, Texas, or wherever you decide to go, we're going to help you to move there. Like, we're going to help find you these different properties in certain markets, even though they're not mine. We're going to actually do the work to help you with that. And I think that's a really powerful position to be in, because again, these service-based businesses, which B2B is service-based, right? That's what we're doing. We're connecting with businesses, and yes, there's customers in between, but we have to make sure that they are at the foremost importance when we're doing these things, saving money, time, energy. How can we alleviate a lot of the problems that those companies may or may not have? And the crazy thing about this, Christine and Katie, is that you guys have watched as you continue to connect with other companies, they might not even realize that they have a problem. And that's where you're able to like actively uncover it and you can find a solution for those problems. So you guys do contracts a lot. You work with, folks that are working on Amazon. So like construction workers, contractors. You work in Vegas with insurance, temporary housing claims. You work with, the World Series of Poker. You guys have done some pretty awesome contracts. Can you walk us through what a contract is? And then we'll talk about how you can get those. And if there's anything that I said that resonates with you at all, feel free to throw that out to me as I just talked about it a minute ago, because I really want this to kind of be like a reciprocal conversation. But let's talk about the contracting part. What is a contract? What does that actually look like? And then we can dive into how to get those.
Well, the actual contract is a request from a company that comes in for a certain amount or a certain unit type of housing, and you send over your availability best suited. So we find all the information that we can off that client. We'll look up the company, if it's a first time. We'll gather all the information. We'll put together our nearest and best accommodation that's available for those dates, and they'll review it. They'll either accept or decline it. Then you put that's your contract. So as Christine was saying, we always want to find out as much information so we're not just throwing jelly at the wall and hoping it sticks. We want to make sure that, we've really listened to their needs and sent over, what we really think would be great. And it's really important to understand what type of client it is, because we do have completely different clients. We have in Mississippi, we serve a lot of construction workers. That's a completely different client base to the execs and some of the relocation, like the VIPs that come in, which is a lot higher standard and also higher budget. So that will determine what type of housing or apartment unit and the amenities that it needs in the house that you put across.
I love that. Christine, anything to add to that?
Yep. No, honey, I don't. Katie is just 100% on that one.
Got you. Okay, cool. So let's talk about how to actually find these contracts. There's a billion ways to do it. And I think that's one of the things that people get stuck on. Well, they'll reach out to a company or, a contracting company. My favorite thing to do is something that you guys have done where fulfillment centers, whether that is an Amazon, whether that's a corporate company that's coming in, or even like you'll see these big giant distribution centers that we put together, like Wayfair is actually building one right in my backyard up by Livermore. Massive. We're talking like 3 or 4 actual blocks, like city block. I'm not kidding you guys. Like these are how big these things are. And when it's ground up construction like that, you have these massive amount of crews that are coming in. Typically they go stay at hotels, and that's where we can work with them, where we can find cheaper deals. We can find apartment complexes. If you have a community that you're a part of that has many properties that are in that backyard, you can now work with them to actually help place some of those folks. So I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity on that end. So can you guys walk us through what those, like how you typically go find contracts? Is there a specific way you do it? Are you doing different types of outreach connections? Are you looking at data? Are you looking at fulfillment centers? Like what is the process that you guys are actually doing to do that?
I don't think there is a really specific process. I think it's all about trial and error and just continuous outreach. So everything from LinkedIn, finding the correct connections on LinkedIn, to we've walked the businesses. We've literally printed out flyers and walked into the businesses to ask about these connections, saying we provide service to, say, the company next door or the company along the road. We try and find something relatable to that company that might make them feel that we're a lot more credible than just walking in and saying we have houses in this area. We have We do continuous email outreach, but really targeted. So we'll not just blanket every corporate with our availability. We look at what availability we've got that will serve that area within 2 miles, the apartments, and actually we're looking at setting up some more apartments to service a couple of really good client contracts right now, because we don't feel like we've got enough of the product that we need to service them continually. So we're getting some more units in Vegas also. So it's, you know, it's just continuous outreach. You know, they say it's like a 7-touch sales system. So have you connected on LinkedIn? Do they are you sending them a podcast that you've recently been on? Send them your availability, invite them to a networking event that you're hosting. Just a number of different things. Just try and build up a relationship, and hopefully they'll pick up your call every now and again, and you know, you can see if they have any requirements, any needs.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. Christine, do you have anything to add on that? Add to that?
Yeah. Yes. Actually, we got a lot of referral also. Let's say in Mississippi, from some of our construction workers, they will refer whoever is coming in. So we pick up some companies' names from there. Then we just reach out to them, and then just like what Katie said, we send out the availabilities. So the other way we pick up clients from referral also. And one more thing, it is like the relationship we've been building with the local connection, or maybe the events we were been attending to. So let's say we've been to some events, we built some good relationships, and from those relationships, then they taught us how to pick up some other corporate clients also. Then Katie is amazing. She does all of this. Like, this morning she told us in our office meeting, quarterly meeting, she said relationship is the word of 2025. So she's all about building relationship all year round. Last month, I think, so we've been to Chepa. Only 1 month, she's already bring in a lot of big companies, and we've been seeing a lot of inquiries comes in. So that is amazing. Connection, relationship, it really, really help. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. That was your word for the year, Katie, was relationships. I know everybody like sometimes has like a 2025, kind of breakdown of what they should be doing or word. And yours is relationships. Is that
Yeah.
your year? Yeah. What
Yeah.
prompted you to think that? What was like, this year I'm going to be super intentional about relationships? Like, was there something that was specific? Or like, what happened with that? Because I really love that. Most people will be like, they'll talk about like adventures or bucket list stuff or whatever, but you were super intentional about relationships, which I haven't heard that before. So can you tell me your thought process on it? I'm curious myself.
Well, I think it's we do business with people we know, like, and trust. And we spent a lot of, especially earlier last year, doing some business when you first start out with people who and you get a feeling for, like, oh, this homeowner's not a good fit for us. This is awful.
Mhm.
And then we're like, oh, they are blacklisted. We can't work with them again. But I think it's, now we've developed, okay, we see a red flag in people who, even people feeding business, if they're not the right fit for you, it's all about building the relationships with them, getting a deeper relationship, and you can work through anything together. And then with new business, it's all about building relationships. It's all about meeting them and them understanding you as a person, and not even about the credibility of the business. It's you building that relationship with them, with everybody, with our team, with our clients, with our homeowners, everybody.
Yeah, we'll have to do a leadership conversation call one day, because I feel like sometimes people forget the leadership aspect of that. And I watch it with you guys. You guys have a super small team. Actually, you have 8, or did you say you have 8 people on your team now? Is that what you said?
We've got 11 now.
All right. So that's like that's a pretty decent sized team. Moving on. I think it's important to talk about that. We don't have to get into that now, but at some point, and maybe you guys are going to be talking about that at the summit. I don't know. But I do think that leadership is such a big part of it, especially as you start to scale. Yeah, the relationships. I was just curious on what your thought was on the relationships part and on the part. But you also said something that I really, yeah. There's sometimes people that fit with you, and there's sometimes people that don't, and that doesn't necessarily mean that even if you don't vibe together, that you can't have a relationship. I think sometimes people are very quick to rip a band-aid off on certain things, but I do believe there's people that you want to work with, there's people you don't want to work with, but there's also like this, relationships that you have to continue to move through, even though they might not be the best for you. But there's potential and possibility that come through at the end. I think that is really important to make sure that you're doing, especially in this world. It's a small world that we operate in, so you have to make sure that that is really, really important. Kim has a question here. I'm going to bring this up on this call because I'm curious to take your guys' take on this. So I just put it on the screen right now. Kim says, how do I do what you're doing with just my one property? I don't have a selection of properties to offer a company. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on this. Christine, I see you smiling right now. Do you want to talk about that real quick? Because we hear that a lot. I have a lot of people that will, and our goal behind this, you guys, is I don't want you all to just be an individual operator that just lists on platforms and expects to get bookings. Like, you have to be way more proactive than that now. That's how I've been able to grow my business to 7 figures, the same that you guys have been able to do. So can you answer that question, Christine? Maybe we can get your take as well. Katie,
Yes.
but you want to answer this?
Yes. Let me try, Kay. If anything wrong, help me on that one.
Good.
Yes. So actually, I would like to say you don't really need to have any property. You can start this. We were starting from 0 to 100, only for over a year. At the beginning for midterm rental, I know I have a little bit of like properties, investment properties, but those are all on short term and long term. I never have any midterm. But back then, when I met Katie, none of us have any available properties for midterm rental. But we just started from 0 first. Then we are going into slowly upcharge some. Then we are connecting with local homeowners, agents, brokers, investors. Then we keep building the portfolio bigger and bigger. So this is collaboration. Am I right, Katie?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Spot on.
So collaborate. We collaborate with the other owners and other people or whatever connection we have. So actually in Air Venture, this is happening and it's really common. Let's say we have an inquiry, but we don't have any properties. I just need to go to Air Venture and we post it out. Everybody has any properties, they're going to jump in and help. So that's how it works. That's the way we could build our business bigger and bigger in a really short period of time to be to today what we have right now.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Katie? That was perfect, Christine. Thank you for that. You have any additional insights, any thoughts? And then I'll jump into my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would just add that networking that's how Christine and I met. And she's right. We had properties, they were not available, but we still put them on, like we put them on a flyer. We added them to the temporary housing websites. And once you've connected with people, when you get that inquiry, you can joint venture on it and put the lease into place and manage that client. You don't need a ton of properties. And also, if you get an opportunity, if you think there's an opportunity with a local business or a business move into your area, you could network with your local midterm rental operators, all come together, and there you have a platform of properties for that company. That's a great way as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love both of those things. Exactly what Christine said, and Katie, I'm going to go into this. So yeah, Christine's absolutely right. Like, what we do in our community, we'll leverage each other's properties. And I think that's such a powerful thing about being in the midterm rental space. It's not just me, I have one property. So Kim, like if you sit there and think I only have one, I'm not going to be able to do anything. You're only going to have one. You're not going to be able to do anything. If that's the reality that you live in your mind, that's what will happen. And what I'm trying to say is, this is why I love these conversations, is because the power of community. And even if you're in a random town in Nebraska somewhere, maybe in the middle of nowhere, maybe there's only like 7,000 people. I can almost guarantee you, if you go to a BNI networking meeting, if you connect with the city council planning division, there's probably something coming that you don't know about. And if there's real estate meetups, they happen all over the place. Go and talk to local realtors in your market. Go hit them up in their offices. Talk about what you do, how you're operating. Midterm rentals. You might have one, but you've been able to get success with it, and you start networking with other people. And before you know it, you have a group of maybe 7 or 8 people. And say you do get an inquiry that comes through that they need housing for 7 or 8, and you only have one property, but Christine and Katie both have properties in that market. I can now connect with you guys and say, hey, we're going to pitch this company, these properties. Do you guys have availability? Are you cool with this? These are your numbers. Here's our numbers. We found out this is what their budget is. We want to come in with a package deal on this. And now we've actually created this like little package for this company using Christine and Katie's properties plus my own. Like, what other business can you do that in? Like, there's not very many that you can. And again, it's super connected. And that's what I really want to make sure that everybody understands. You can have one property, Kim, and still be able to serve a community. And again, this is something that's bigger than yourself. Even like when I talk about, adding more people, and that's really what I always try to push is like the collaborative, communicative space. It's not the Airbnb, pick me kind of my own property type place. We get to do these things connected. And it's cool to watch that happen. In fact, I send Christine and Katie properties in Vegas all the time because I know they have those there. So anytime I get a lead in, Vegas, I'm just shooting it over to them like instantly, and they get back to it within a few minutes, which is amazing. That's how fast their level of customer service is. You have to be that. We're in a customer service based business, and that's important too. All right, let's hopefully that answers your question, Kim. Let me know if there's anything else that you have on that. Kim just said thank you. You're awesome. Katie and Christine, she said thanks. Got it. She said got it. Thanks. Okay, cool. See, now Kim's thinking bigger already. I love that. She's like, I got big thoughts on this. I got big ideas. Yes, Kim, get around the right people. All right. So we talked about the contracts. We talked about how to find them now. Can you guys talk about a deal that you've done recently? You don't have to give the city or state, because if you do, everybody's going to be investing there. But maybe just talk about like a deal that you guys got that ended up being, coming from a construction company, and then you needed to source properties from a certain market, or maybe connect with somebody that has apartments that has vacancies, what that actually looks like and how you're kind of putting those things together. Can you guys talk about that?
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Locke.
Okay. So we saw an opportunity with, like you said, the Wayfair. So we saw an Amazon distribution center coming to an area where Eva lives. So she read about this opportunity, and we contacted this apartment owner and actually offered to buy the apartments that we realized that he just bought them and he was renovating them. So he was not against us offering to buy them, but he was more willing to partner with us. So we took on 8 units at a time. So we took on 8, we furnished them, we filled them really quickly. So we took on another 8, and as he was renovating the units, we were taking them on. So we now have 42 of his 56 apartment unit rented out.
Got it. Got it. Perfect. Okay, cool. Yes, that makes complete sense. So then you guys were able to kind of get all those contracts and everything together from just that one landlord.
Yeah, just him. And he's been great. He's amazing. We've actually turned his community into a completely different vibe, because prior to him buying it, it was Section 8.
Mm-hmm.
So he was renovating it, trying to change it out of Section 8. And we come along with corporate contracts, and now it's filled with, it's a working class community, and it's got a really, really nice vibe. They love it. And he loves it because it's completely changed the atmosphere of the community.
Yeah. And do you know what that actually does for the value of that property?
Yeah.
It brings it up. So when you do have an investor that's like, we have a Section 8, primarily Section 8 type property, and then you get contractors, general workers in there, completely changes the vibe. And maybe you saw before and after of what it looked like, maybe the parking lot afterwards. Like, there's a huge there's a shift that happens in properties like that. And I think, again, going back to the owner, their property is going to be worth more. They have contracts that are paying on time, which that's what you guys are doing. You're getting them from the corporate agencies, paying his mortgage essentially. And of course, he's going to love that because you guys are actually taking care of the property. You have to. It's a business. And that's one of the things that landlords absolutely love. So going forward, are you guys, Katie, are you guys going to look to buy more properties now? Are you going to continue to maybe do arbitrage and do master leases? Because that's essentially what corporate companies do. You get a master lease of a property for, a year or two, whatever that time frame is. You have a lease with the company or the landlord itself, and then you sublease that out to the clients that are coming in. What are you guys doing right now? What's your next, that you're kind of like 2.0 version of what you guys are doing as far as acquisition and things like that?
Yeah, actually, we are doing both. We are looking to buy, but the inquiry is coming. There are lots of inquiries coming in. So a lot of construction workers, they are flooding in. We don't have enough units. So we are doing both. Whatever we can buy, we buy. If not, then we don't have that kind of cash or money to buy, then we just keep arbitraging as much as possible. Yeah.
Got you.
I think what's really good is that arbitraging helps bring you knowledge of the demand. So I was thinking about this the other day. So in one location, we've 100% arbitraged, just about 100%. We're probably about 95% because we bought a couple of properties earlier in the year, but we're 95% arbitrage model. And now we see that demand. Now we can show the numbers. We've got all the figures. We can use we had a conversation with the owner of the apartment. So he told us what he paid for it, how much he renovated. We know our rents. And we can, now we can analyze an apartment block, no problem, with a year's worth of, probably 7 months now of rental income on that. And we're doing the same with Las Vegas. There's areas that we probably said we wouldn't necessarily invest in, but there's such high demand that we just bought a property recently in that area. Now we're doing the same with apartments. So we're going to do the same. We're going to arbitrage some, see how the demand goes. We can build that up, and that will define the area where we need to buy.
Got it. I love that. I love that. And a lot of people come to me and say, should I go to Vegas? Or I'm in Vegas now. And it's one of the most competitive markets, but you guys have been able to build a strong foundation there because of like literally everything we're talking about right now. Most people are doing the exact opposite of that. They're coming in, listing on platforms, expecting to get booked, sitting on their hands and waiting. And this is by far the best strategy if people actually want to create more longevity. Your word of the year, Katie, relationships. This is a relationship-based business, period. Like it really, really is. And I think that, if you want to just operate and have a side hustle that's just kind of there, list on platforms and wait to get booked. But if you want to create a business and think more forward and have longevity and actually build a long roadway where you can eventually maybe even sell your business, because that's the goal eventually, right? Is to create something that has enough cash flow that comes through it that, Vanguard or not Vanguard, but maybe even Blackstone or somebody eventually buys it. A private equity firm decides to buy it because the percentages are higher, the yields are a lot higher. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a lot of companies that are actually in that sector, which is smart money, institutional capital, start doing things like this. BlackRock bought extended stay hotels at the end of 2022, beginning of 2023. Extended stay hotels are literally the biggest corporate contracting company nationwide. Like the government has contracts with them. All these small operators have contracts with them. That's why I feel like the real competitor is for us folks in the midterm rental space. It's not each other. It's these like corporate, massive companies like BlackRock, Blackstone a lot of times. And the other ones that are smaller corporate companies, we can actually partner with them and actually do deals with them. And I think that's important to recognize too, because there is a massive amount of potential when you're building relationships. And we see it happen all the time in our community, even the free Facebook group where we have where somebody will have a deal, another person will reach out, they get connected there, and all of a sudden they start making things happen. And that's a powerful position to be in. Katie, Christine, I'm going to leave you guys with this. I actually want to bring this to the audience that's listening and watching this right now. And I appreciate you guys sharing your insights and information with us. It's so cool to watch. If you were to give any piece of advice to somebody right now, like Kim, who's got one property or maybe has two or three, and maybe they're listed on platforms, they're not necessarily getting bookings, or maybe they are getting bookings, but they have vacancy that's 70, 60, 50%, where they're not getting booked as often, what would be the strategy that you would say, start doing this today? This will help you move forward. So Katie, we'll start with you and then we'll go to Christine.
Ooh. Network with other midterm operators in your market. Our philosophy right from the start was collaborate and not compete against them. It's all about collaboration. You can't go, we're working with two great AirVenture students who have come to us because they have a property in Las Vegas. They've got opportunity to work with corporate clients and we partner together. It's a win-win for everybody. And it's how you will grow from strength to strength is collaboration.
Yeah, 100% on that. Yeah, networking is so powerful. And like, you have to be very intentional when you go network. You can't just stand there and say, hey, I'm Jess and I'm an introvert and I don't talk very much. You have to be very much proactive. That's probably how you and Christine ended up meeting. Was like, hey, what do you do? What do you do? Well, I'm here in Vegas. I'm here in Vegas. And you guys started to communicate and talk about that. So I would really encourage everybody, yes, go network, go to real estate meetups in your market, go to real estate agents, talk about what you do. Talk to the cashier that you're going through on, your local supermarket. Like, talk to them specifically about what you do, because you never know who actually has rentals on the other end and might even be doing the same exact thing. Okay, that was a good one, Katie. Christine, I'm gonna bring this to you now. What's your thoughts on somebody new starting off today? What would be that advice that you'd give them?
I would like to say, just like what I did, join that. I invest on myself, actually. I know I was a little real estate investor. I know how to invest uh, uh, properties. I did a little bit fix and flip, but I don't know how to do midterm rental. So I joined AirVenture. I invest on myself to learn how to make it work. Katie and Eva, they spend money, join Sub2. They want to learn how to buy properties without any of their own money. So using other people's money without following any loan, any mortgage from whatever bank. So this is what I did. Yeah. So I would suggest, if you really want to start from somewhere from midterm rental, invest on yourself and that learn how to make it work first, then join the community, whatever community, let's say Facebook, midterm rental group, or maybe join the summit, hang out with us and connect with the other people, connect with your local midterm rental operators. That there are a lot of information and a lot of opportunities. That's why how we can learn and grow, like, for a short period of time. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you guys are saying everything freaking awesome. And yeah, investing in yourself is a big deal. Like, I think we have this a lot in our community. People will invest in the tools, which is like, learning. There's a lot of tools in the toolkit. Sub2 is a tool, midterm rentals is a tool, short-term rentals is a tool. There's so many different types of tools to leverage your property to make the best case use and make the most amount of money for it. You have to think about what those tools are. Sub2 to creative financing to midterm, probably one of the best strategies. House hacking, best freaking strategy if you're able to do that. Like, you can essentially live for free. So there's all these different tools and things that you could do. But yeah, you're right, Christine. Invest in yourself. I think that's one of the biggest advantages. I watch this happen with a bunch of our students. They'll come into the class, start learning about midterm rentals. The next thing they're going down this like personal development journey. Because you're never going to go past who you are right now. And if your mindset is limiting and you're like, I'm not going to be able to do this, I only have one, I only have this, like, that's as far as you're ever going to get. And you have to be able to invest in yourself so that you can see the potential through the bigger picture. And a lot of us, including myself, had a very narrow and scarcity mindset. There's not enough. Christine has more opportunity than I do. Katie has more opportunity than I do. She's got money. But at the end of the day, I'm setting those limits on my own self. And if I don't change that, I'm never going to move past that. So I think we have to be able to invest in ourselves. And that could be, personal development, reading the right books, being around the right community, being around people that are a step ahead or two of where you're at, thinking differently than what you normally do, and finding those kinds of little loopholes that you keep yourself kind of constrained in these ways. It's such a powerful thing to do. When you start to go down that rabbit hole, you will see that there's just so much more for you out there. Before we get off, I want to leave on this last one here. We have another question here from Seto Play 12. I'm not sure if it's a he or she, so I'm going to go ahead and go. How do you decide whether to co-host or arbitrage? You guys have any thoughts on that? How do you decide to do either one of those? What's your thoughts? Anybody want to pick one? Or pick?
I guess Katie mentioned it earlier. So when we decided first, we at the beginning we decided to arbitrage because we want to come together and form a company together. So we just started for arbitrage, and it depends on your market. How is your demand? I think we just need to do a little bit research of your market, see if the demand of like what kind of clientele, how much demand is going to be, and that way we will. Oh, there is a really good tool, Furnish Finder, right? You can go on Furnish Finder and look at the trending, look at the data, and that will help you to get to know about your market or maybe whatever market you want to invest into. But we are in Las Vegas and Mississippi. We want to control something wherever we can, like, driving distance within an hour, 45 minutes. So we decided to invest in our market, but we started arbitrage first and slowly we could host a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Katie, any thoughts on that?
Okay. Am I right, Kate?
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I mean, I think, it's all about the risk, isn't it? And everything's a risk. So arbitrage is a risk because you're basically taking on somebody else's rent for a 12-month lease.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then usually you've got to furnish it. So there's an outlay. So we actually started our business a good few thousand out of pocket before we started bringing in any income. So there's the risk. And then actually it organically came to us. We didn't really go out looking for co-hosting as such. We had homeowners coming to us because we had simply documented what we were doing with our arbitrage properties, setting them up, and people were reaching out to us. They were asking us, people who had maybe been shut down by the city for doing illegal short-term rentals here in Vegas, that has harsh restrictions, or other people whose rentals have been sat on the market furnished. So they were reaching out to us, and we asked would you mind us marketing your property? So we took on no responsibility, and they were happy for us to help. We felt like we were helping them. We felt like we were helping our clients because of the demand that we were starting to bring in. And when we got a request in the area, we would do what they say is like a match lease. So if we got a 3-month request, we would put a lease into place with that homeowner for 3 months. And then that client would stay there for the 3 months. After the 3 months, if no extension, we would hand the property back. So there's pretty much no risk about that model, apart from the liability that you take on, which is where you come into play and you look after the client.
Yeah, 100%. And you kind of nailed this here a minute ago, but I think that if you come into this, doesn't matter who you are, if you're like, I want to turn this into a side hustle, I'm going to, pick up a property, you'll start to realize over time that there's different verticals in this business, in the midterm rental space, you can make money. You're organically going to start to get co-hosting properties. Like this is what you talked about right now, Katie, where people are going to see what you're doing. You're going to be talking to them about what you're doing. So you're automatically, if you started off with arbitrage, the likelihood of you getting a 2 property or 3 or 4 co-hosting goes up exponentially. You being able to pick up, your own arbitrage properties, which is great. I also think that you shouldn't co-host until you've actually managed your own property. I'm one of those guys. I'm like, don't start a co-hosting business until you actually know how this business actually operates. Do it yourself. Get to learn what that is. Arbitrage is a great way to start. And there are still cash flowing markets that will, that work today, but you have to know how to run the numbers. You got to know what the demand looks like in the market. You got to have mutual connections and understanding of how to actually build these contracts. So I think it's important to make sure that you have those things in. But yeah, arbitrage is a little bit more risky. I think co-hosting is an easier thing because you're not essentially using your own money. But again, if you don't know how to manage your own property, how the hell are you going to be able to arbitrage or co-host somebody else's? So you got to be very thoughtful on that. And also, I've had people reach out to me on YouTube because I've talked about this before. I was like, don't start a co-hosting business unless you manage a property first. And people are like, most business owners don't have this idea. They don't get it. But what I'm trying to say is like learn how to do this yourself with like the nuances that come along with it before you decide to potentially screw up a property owner's home, or I'm not saying screw it up, but ruin a deal, ruin a relationship, because that will follow you. And all you have in this business is your reputation. So I urge everybody, start with one, either that's your own home that you have, a neighbor, a friend, or somebody, maybe you manage it for, or you start to go out and actually do the lead. So maybe you rent it from them, and then you actually go out and start to do this. And then once you get some kind of tenure in your belt, you understand it, then go and do arbitrage, or go do co-hosting, start doing lead connecting. So now you start adding these different verticals, and before you know it, you have 3 or 4 different verticals. You're making way more money than you originally even thought with the first set of arbitraging properties. And that's what's cool about this business, is that you'll start to see there's different layers to it. And once those layers are all connecting, they're all firing on all 4, like all firing all over the place. Like now you're actually able to build something substantial, and that one business can now turn into 3 or 4. And that's what's super cool about this business, because I watch it happen time and time again. And it's pretty cool for somebody to come in and just like, I want to make 5,000 a month. Before you know it, they're making like 10, and they're making like 15, and they're making like 20. And it's because they start adding these different layers, and it's pretty freaking awesome to watch, because they didn't believe it for themselves until they started to actually see it happen. But yeah, Christine, Katie, I'm excited for your speech in, you're at the event in San Diego, April 27th to 29th. If you guys have not got your tickets yet, go get them. We don't have a lot left. That's at the midtermrentalsummit.com. And I'm excited to see what you guys have going on. So for those that, if this resonated with anybody, like at all, get to the summit, get to San Diego. The weather is nice. You're going to enjoy it. And again, this is a communal experience. It's about everybody getting together. And I think once you get there, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Katie, Christine, it's always a pleasure hanging out with you guys. You guys are awesome. I love what you've been able to do with the IZEALSTAY over the last year. And I can't even fathom what you guys are going to be doing the next year, the next 2 years, the next 5 years. There's some really cool, big things coming, and I am super excited for you guys. So thank you so much again. Where can people go find you if they want to learn more about you, connect with you? Where can folks find you, Katie, Christine?
Thank you. Yeah, you can connect with us at IZEALSTAY on LinkedIn, Instagram. And then my Instagram is Mrs. Katie French. And Christine?
Mine is Christine at LV Fine Design from Instagram.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll put all their, I'll put all you guys' actual links down below in the show notes when this goes up on YouTube, which it probably will be going up here pretty shortly. But I appreciate you two for being here. I'm excited to see you guys on stage. Hopefully you're not nervous. Hopefully you feel comfortable. But I'm just excited to see everything kind of come full circle from you. And I guarantee you guys didn't think a year ago, Christine, that you'd be speaking in front of hundreds of people at a summit. You probably didn't even think about that at all, but here it is.
It's okay. It's going to be nervous, but just like my old work, whatever, move forward. Right?
Yeah.
Things always like, whatever, I'll just do it. And you have to do that. I think it's part of growing. It's what scares you is going to allow you to continue to grow. Super awesome. It's perseverance and that drive that you have, Christine. So awesome. I appreciate you guys so very much. Again, we hope to see you guys in the beautiful city of San Diego. And Katie, I appreciate you being here as well. You guys are like yin and yang. And we forgot Eva in there. She's somewhere in there as well. But we appreciate you guys,
so much, Jesse.
Everybody, for watching and hanging out with us. And we'll see you next week on the next Midterm Monday. So appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Bye, y'all.
Thank you for the opportunities.
There it is. That was good, you guys. I didn't want to give too much.